Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Commando Show. While we make some changes and rearrange some stuff, here's a replay.
I always like to start with something really fun. And if I had a time machine, I would zoom back and really buy some Bitcoin. That's for sure. Just this past week, Bitcoin turned 15 years old. Now, imagine buying just $5 of it 15 years ago. Just $5. How much would that be worth today? Just guess. Say it out loud. Just guess. All right, let me give you a hint. Bitcoin's value has soared over 3 billion %. Oh my gosh, that's right. 3 billion %. The token got its start in a white paper published under the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, and it pitched a novel idea at the time: peer-to-peer electronic cash, enabling payments, bypassing banks, financial institutions. It was, of course, the invention of the blockchain, totally anonymous. Now, back to that $5 gamble. How much do you think that would be worth today? Anybody? $173 million. Wow, isn't that crazy? But let me tell you, I would still be doing this show if I had that kind of money. Maybe not. Hey, on that happy note, you're about ready to get more tech smart because every single thing is now a tech thing. I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the most trusted show. And I have two small requests. First up, if my show or podcast has ever given you that aha moment, well, pass it on. Tell at least one person about the show and the podcast, a friend, a family member. And secondly, it's your turn to grab the mic. You know what that means? I want you to give me a shout by sending me a note over at hello@commando.com. Tell me your questions. Tell me what you want more of here on the show. And you can find us on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. It can also get us as a podcast, commercial-free, as a webcast as well. Inside the Commando community, head over to commando.com and hit that big button that says Commando Community. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members serving in 175 different countries and 200 ships at sea. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too dang shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, I get that. You can drop me your questions by sending me that note, hello@commando.com, or filling out that form over at commando.com that says email Kim. And just for you, dear listener, I go to at least 35 different websites every single day to make sure that you and I are both up to date about the tech universe. And here are the top 5 things you need to know about tech right now. And there's been a lot of talk about regulating AI over the last year. Should we really do it? What's going on? Well, the U.S. government is finally stepping in. President Biden signed his first executive order requiring AI companies, Google, Microsoft, AI, all the rest, share safety test data with the government. And here's what the regulators are going to be asking for: that developers of the most powerful AI systems share their safety test results, critical information, develop standards and tools to make sure that AI is secure and trustworthy, protect against the risks of AI being used to engineer dangerous biological weapons, and find ways to protect Americans' privacy. I know. I don't mean to be a cynic, but let's think about this. The government has done a horrible job, a terrible job controlling big tech, and AI is already on a completely different level. Moving on to number 2, here's why there needs to be regulation, though. There's a new term for you: artificial general intelligence. So you have AI, but now we have AGI. So this way you know what that means. Artificial General Intelligence. Think of it as AI that's so smart, it can do things just as well as a human can do, sometimes even better. We're not talking about just writing emails or composing a report. One of Google's AI founders, Shane Legg, made a bet on his blog over 10 years ago that by the year 2028, there would be a 50-50 shot that AI is going to be as smart or smarter than humans. And this week he confirmed, yeah, I'm going to stand by that 2028. Now, this guy's one of the world's top minds when it comes to AI. So OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic, and all the other big companies out there are working towards AGI. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, ChatGPT, here's what he said about AGI. We face serious risk. We face existential risk. Wow. But yet he's still building it, right? The company's worth, I don't know, I saw some crazy number like $90 billion or something like that. I mean, we are on a direct course building machines that can outperform, outthink us, and be programmed to do really horrible things. Yeah, I know. Sleep well on that. Let's change gears a little bit. Let's move on to number 3. A word of caution about the family jewels. Guys, you're going to want to listen up. Time to pay attention to your little swimmers. Over the last 50 years, the average sperm counts have plummeted from 99 million per millimeter to 47 million. Now, there's a study that says there's a reason for this. Yeah, it's the device that you put into your pants pocket, your smartphone. Researchers from the University of Geneva started exploring if radiation coming from our phones might be throwing off the swimmers' quality and quantity. A 13-year study, they rounded up a bunch of guys, and then they asked them about their phone usage habits. It turns out the more that the guys use their phones, the lower the sperm concentration seemed to be. So men who looked at their phone more than 20 times a day had a 21% less concentrated sperm count compared to those who barely touched their phone more than a week. So if you're trying to get pregnant, keep this in mind. Number 4, hotels are making a big comeback. You know, as you make your travel plans for the holidays, here's what's going on. Airbnb, Vrbo, and the millions who have rented their homes, things are changing. We're opting mostly for hotels this holiday season. Why? Well, when Airbnb and Vrbo first hit the scene, they were terrific. Cheaper hotels, great properties, but then came the horror stories. Way too many hidden cameras. Creepy hosts. Yeah, that story about the guy living in his attic when he rented out the whole house with all kinds of cameras around. That was scary. Another home infested with bats. There's more. Airbnb and Vrbo hosts got greedy neighborhoods. They don't want them around. And so the prices have skyrocketed. And now with careful shopping, hotel rates are less expensive about 3/4 of the time than either Airbnb or Vrbo. And they're probably safer too. You know, anytime I think of Airbnb, it just reminds me of that movie. I don't know why, The Shining. Think about this, The Shining. The whole plot of The Shining was a family's first Airbnb experience goes just terribly wrong. And finally, this coming in at number 5, is it Nostradamus or Homerdamus? Yes, The Simpsons. No stranger to making predictions that come true. The ending of Game of Thrones. How about Secret and Roy's Tiger Tech? Way back in 2000, they said that Donald Trump would be president and everybody laughed it off. So in this recent episode, did they predict the fall of Elon Musk and SpaceX? In this episode, a young, ambitious CEO marries Mr. Burns. For her birthday, she doesn't get a cake, she gets Twitter, the whole company. Now, here's where the prediction comes in. The episode says that Twitter was up for sale because the previous owner's self-driving Mars rocket just barges right into the International Space Station. So is it Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket that destroys the ISS? We're all wondering about that. Which reminds me, if The Simpsons entered the Witness Protection Program, what would Homer's alias be? That's right. If The Simpsons entered a witness protection program, what would Homer's alias be? Ready? John Doe. Ooh, that was a good one. All right, let me ask you a question. Would you ever get a brain implant? Now, if your answer is no, it's too weird, scary, whatever, I have a story that's going to make you rethink every single thing. I'm gonna introduce you to a woman by the name of Amber Pearson. She's 34 years old, and she has a brain implant called a neurostimulator. She says that it's virtually cured her of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and also epilepsy. Now, it sounds like it's science fiction, but the tech is really here. And Amber is also here to tell us all about it. So, Amber, tell us a little bit about the implant and what it does.
So I have an implant called an RNS. It's a responsive neurostimulator system, and it basically monitors your brain waves and watches for any abnormal brain waves. And when it finds them, it kind of gives a little pulse out to stop those waves and kind of set them back into a normal rhythm. And so I have epilepsy and OCD. And so it's basically watching those waves and putting things right.
So what was life like before the implant?
Oh my gosh, it was awful. I mean, my seizures, I had seizures anywhere to 10 to 18 a month. Sometimes I couldn't drive. I would have grand mals every once in a while. When you have those, you can't drive for 3 months. I had other seizures that aren't, you can still drive with those. I had those multiple times a month, but it's the grand mals that make you not able to drive. And then the OCD it controls your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. What were you trying to do before the implant to deal with all of your symptoms?
I have been on so many medications. I've been through therapies. I did exposure therapy for OCD, which is a regular therapy that a lot of people go through, and it works for some. It doesn't for others, and it didn't for me.
And so when did the idea of an implant, no pun intended, come to mind? And I mean, how was it brought to your attention? Like, this might be something, Amber, that we should try.
So for my epilepsy, I had already had a lobectomy, which is kind of a regular thing for people with drug-resistant epilepsy. And after that, I kept having seizures, and I had a really big one that caused a cardiac arrest.
Oh, jeez.
And so my doctors were like, you know what, let's keep, let's see what else we can do. How would you feel about this RNS? And they told me about how that works, and that it was a deep brain stimulator. And I had heard about other deep brain stimulators helping OCD. And so I was like, well, you guys know that I have OCD. How would you feel about maybe getting this to work for both my epilepsy and my OCD?
I want a twofer right here. I want a twofer.
I want a 2 for 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And so my doctors, were kind of intrigued by that, and they went with it.
So what was the surgery like?
The surgery, it's hard to go with, from me, because I'm really easygoing. So nothing to me is big deal. I woke up and I was like, oh, this is great. It's not a big deal surgery. You're out of the hospital typically within 3 to 4 days. It's not like they're removing anything from your brain or anything.
How big is the?
A little stimulator.
I was going to say, how big is this? How big is the implant, or how small?
I don't know the exact dimensions, but it's like a little 1 inch by 2 inch little stimulator that sits in your skull. It's not like they go remove anything from your brain. It just sits in there.
So when did you first notice, after you got the implant, that like life is different?
Yeah. So I definitely don't want anyone to think that this is instant. It takes programming. They have to watch how you respond to it, and it's a lot of programming and reprogramming. So it took a few months to even notice symptoms getting better. And then from there, it would just month by month, I would see little things getting better and better.
So I think it's really interesting. So just like regular people go get a checkup, I mean, you have to have your implant checked out, and then they reprogram it. Does that require any effort on your part when they reprogram it?
No, you just go in, you sit there. They hook it up to their computer, which isn't no wires or anything. They just set something on your head, and they reprogram it.
That's easy. It's a lot easier than
easy.
So it's easier than drawing blood, right? Getting your blood work done.
I sit and joke with them the whole time. It's a lot of fun.
So what's the cost of this surgery?
That's something I don't know. My insurance covers the whole thing.
Which is beautiful. We love when insurance does that, right? We do.
Yes,
so if anybody's listening or watching right now and they think, oh, I don't think I could ever go through anything like this, and knowing that you are easygoing, because I can tell just by talking to you, should they be afraid?
I really don't think they should. It was a simple surgery, and the thing about it is it's reversible. It's not something, they're not removing anything. If they don't like it, they can turn it off.
Amber, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story, and continued good health to you. There are other reasons why you might want to get this type of implant. Parkinson's disease. Let's see, if you have tremors, they say it also helps with that. If you have Tourette's, you might want to ask your doctor about these deep brain implants. Chronic pain, they say, could really be effective for that. Major depression, bipolar disorder, Huntington's disease. So, that's why I like to pass along these type of uses of technology, because it really is really wonderful when we can use tech to really make our lives so much better. All right, let's talk about doorbell cams real quick. Amazon's Ring, they've struck up partnerships with almost 3,000 law enforcement agencies all across the United States. That means if a crime occurs near a home equipped with a Ring camera, police can totally ask for the footage, right? But you don't necessarily have the final say to this. If the police ask for your video, you do not have to give it to them. But if your videos are just out there hanging out in the cloud, authorities have ways to snag them without your permission. They can either hit you up with a subpoena or a search warrant, or invoke a federal law that makes it possible for them to grab the footage from manufacturers in times of emergencies. Now, there is a workaround just in case you want to keep everything to yourself. If you keep that footage local, own your own camera, they actually have to come to your door and ask for it or bring a warrant. So if you're not keen on sharing, you're going to want to skip the cloud storage. Let's talk about Siri and CPR. This is really important. If you don't remember how to do CPR, one of the worst things you can do is go onto YouTube and ask for directions on how to do CPR, because they're going to show you a whole bunch of ads before you even see the instructions. And let's talk about Siri, though. Out of the 32 different voice assistant responses, can you believe that only 9 advised you to immediately call 911? So if you find yourself in an emergency situation, what you want to do is always call 911. Don't ask your smart assistant to do it for you, because it's going to come up with a whole list of possible things. Okay, just go ahead and do it yourself. All right, let's see who's next. David in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Amanda, the punstoppable pun master.
The pun master is here. You must get You must get my newsletters.
I do.
All right. You know what? I'd say, so whenever I look at the comments from the newsletters, I have to tell you, it's like, love the jokes. And then somebody's like, I hate the jokes. Stop the jokes.
Of course.
It's like, all right. Okay. It's just, but you just have to lighten up life sometimes. It can't be Fox News all the time. All right. It just can't.
You have to be you.
Exactly.
Let the chips fall where they may.
So what's on your mind?
Well, I think the last major iPhone release, there was something in the advertising notes. I won't go so far as to say they were release notes about Apple Private Relay. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a new feature, but since then it's been out for a while. But my question was, is Apple Private Relay, what is it like compared to a third-party VPN? Is it as effective? Why would you use one versus the other?
It's a great question, because sometimes when I'm out and about and I'm on my MacBook, or I'm on a plane or whatever it may be, doing a speaking engagement, whatever, is that it will pop up and say, oh, Apple Private Relay has just been enabled to protect yourself and your privacy. And you're like, oh, thank you very much, right? But, is it really doing the job? The VPN works a lot like Private Relay. So the whole idea is that if you're on private relay or a VPN, is that it's going to encrypt your data, right? Protect your privacy. Make sure that you're not going to give access to bad actors, your passwords, or anything else that may be going back and forth. The problem with private relay is that it's made by Apple, right? And because it's made by Apple, and Apple makes great products, don't get me wrong, but it only works inside Apple products. So it's only going to encrypt and protect you when you're using, say, Apple Mail, right?
Safari.
And Safari, yes. Okay. So if that's all you're doing, then you're probably okay. But it's never going to be as good as a full-blown VPN, because the VPN will cover all traffic, everything that you're doing from your device. It's going to go through that VPN. It's going to be protected. It's going to be encrypted. So, I think it's a great shot across the bow by Apple. But, am I going to replace my VPN and only use private relay? What's that answer, David?
No, absolutely not.
No, we're not going to do that. Not at all. So, leave it turned on. It's not going to hurt anything. But just keep in mind, too, that you want to use a third-party provider as your VPN. And, of course, we recommend ExpressVPN here on the show. I've used it for years. If you go to expressvpn.com/Kim, full disclosure, they are an advertiser, is that you get 3 months free. But I will tell you that I've used ExpressVPN for so long, and it's a great VPN. It's easy to use, simple to use. One click, you're protected truly. And again, expressvpn.com/Kim is the way to check it out. And David, thank you for your call. Speaking of VPNs, what do you call a VPN that isn't private? What do you call a VPN that isn't private? Are you ready for it? A proxy moron. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Arlene in Fort Myers, Florida, you're up next.
I'm confused about passkeys and biometrics. I can't be the only person whose fingerprints don't take well. I mean, years of using acetone to take off nail polish. Even when I go and have fingerprints done for professional licensing, the police just stand there and shake their heads because there's just not enough there to identify. And then with the facial recognition, I've had Galaxy phones. I've got these beautiful Z Folds. And the two that I've had, I register. It says it takes it. But then when I go to open my phone, it doesn't recognize me. And I have to do that over and over again.
It's annoying.
Yes. So thank goodness it allows a PIN, but a PIN is not secure. That's only 4 digits. So what am I missing? If we have to go to biometrics, I'm back to paper and pencil.
Oh, wow. Most companies are going to continue to offer some type of hybrid situation. Okay. So it's not going to be passkeys all or nothing. Passkeys are your biometrics, like you said, face, fingerprint. And the whole idea is that if somebody does a SIM swap and somebody gets your phone and they're trying to get into your bank account, they have the keys to the kingdom, right? Because they're getting those 2-factor authentication codes. Now, if your passkey is tied to your biometrics, so that in order for you to get that 2-factor authentication notification is that you have to show your face or your fingerprint to your phone, then that's one way that we can avert the criminals from stealing everything in your bank account. Okay. Now, the fact that I'm not really sure why your Galaxy phone is not doing any type of facial recognition, just, all for giggles, I probably encourage you to take it to the store or make sure you have all the updates and try again, because normally that's pretty accurate. So there's probably something wrong with the tech. There's nothing wrong with your face, okay? Because that technology has really just grown exponentially over the last, say, 3 years, even 18 months, and that. Now, for example, on your iPhone, you can have a mask on, you can have sunglasses on, and it still recognizes that you are who you are. And so I think that there's something going on with the Galaxy that you need to fix, and also, putting in this in, it was supposed to work, and this is what you paid for it. It should be working, right?
For sure.
So what exactly are you worried about?
Well, it was just if I can't use those, and if they eliminated passwords, then I would have no security. So, but you're saying that most of them are going to retain some
they have
form
to.
of password access.
Yeah,
as
at
a
least,
backup.
yes, at least, they do. They have to have some type of solution. Because let's say, for example, like you said, the fingerprints, too much nail polish over the years, or whatever it may be, that you have to have access. But the world is moving towards, thank God, away from passwords. Because I don't know about you, but I am so tired of passwords. I am like done. That we can move into biometrics and then also get more security along the way. Arlene, thank you for your call. I saw a stat the other day. It said it would take about 47 hours to review the privacy policies of 96 of the most popular websites every single month. Wow, 47 hours to read them all. Well, luckily, you know me, and I know the shortcuts, because who wants to go through Facebook and Instagram? They had the longest policies, by the way, almost 20,000 words. So here's what you want to do. Use the find trick. Control F on your PC, Command F on a Mac. Look for buzzwords like sell or partners or affiliates. Data collection. Find sections like how we collect your personal data. Pay attention to data usage. They're going to say how we use your personal information. Phrases like business purposes could mean that they sell it. Watch out for location tracking too, geolocation, geo-targeting. And always, always, always protect the kids. Watch out for references of COPA or the Child's Online Privacy Protection Act. If you want to read more about this, we have all the tips over at commando.com. Just hit that button that says Show Picks. Sue in Ocala, Florida, glad to have you with us.
I wanted to ask you a question about something you had posted in your newsletter relative to the ideas of security and login information. And you had suggested to be fully secure, people should use either their fingerprint or their face print. And my question was, what do we do if that person passes away and we can't access any of their financial information, bank accounts, etc.?
Yeah, and we are all moving towards biometrics. We are, because let's just face it, we're all tired of 12 to 16 characters, upper, lower case, symbols, gang sign, whatever it may be. You're just like, oh my gosh, make it stop. And then, the old joke is that, you set your password to incorrect so that this way when you get your password, says your password's incorrect. I mean, it's all these different things that people are trying to do. And so the whole idea behind the passkeys is that in order for you to open your phone, maybe open a new account, change a password, is that you're going to have to show some type of biometric, either your face or your fingerprint, to your phone. And then that will authenticate you to that site or service or app that you are actually who you are. But what if that person is no longer living among us? Well, that's where we get into what's called legacy contacts. And so Google has it, Facebook, Apple has it, Microsoft has it. A legacy contact is who you are going to say they will have access to your Apple ID when you pass away. Same thing with Google, same thing with Microsoft, Facebook, whatever it may be. In addition to that, it sounds pretty archaic, especially because we're talking about all this digital stuff. But, when my mom passed away, I was the exeter of the estate and the will. And of course, I was a primary caregiver. So of course it would be me and not my siblings, right? But one of the things that I found that was really nice is that my mom wrote everything out in details, right? Do this, do this, do this, give this to that, do this to that. And then the other thing that I found that was really helpful was a password book. I know, it's terrible to say, but it was a book of all her accounts, her numbers, and her passwords. Okay?
Yeah.
And so this way we're not relying on getting into system, two-factor authentication, and I had access to her email account and to her phone and I was a signer on her Bank of America account, all that other stuff. So I know this isn't happy thinking, but it's a necessary conversation to have. Also, if you don't want to do a password book, a password manager, but just make sure that that person knows what that master password is. So this way you can get into all the passwords. But it's but if you can ever share an account with somebody, I think that's always the best case. And as her caregiver, I knew most of her passwords anyway, quite frankly, because she was so funny. I mean, like when I asked her, because she had to change all her passwords, and I said, what's your password? I don't get to tell you what the whole password was, but she fractured her hip, and so her password was hip crack. I'm like,
yeah,
with all these numbers and exclamation points and all this other stuff. And I just thought that was the funniest thing. I'm like, of course your password would be hip crack, So does that answer your question?
Well, it does. I mean, as a review, I've already set up an Excel spreadsheet for, our daughter that has all of our passwords, and I update that almost every month. But you're saying that every major account, Facebook, et cetera, they all have a way for us to establish legacy.
Yes, legacy contact.
Okay.
You know what? Let me do this. Let me write this up. Okay, I'll give this way. I'll give you all the links, and we'll go ahead and put that in a newsletter. Do you get the newsletters?
Oh my gosh, I live for them. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Sue.
Absolutely.
Although I think my husband got mad because I put our text exchange in the newsletter.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but it was like he sent me like a text in all caps, like, "You need to call me ASAP." And then me, without thinking, I was at work. I wasn't even thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I was texting him on my computer. So I'm like, oh, I have to go get my phone. I think I left it in the truck. So I was like all getting up to go. And he texted me back. He goes, use the phone on your desk. The one with the handle. I'm like,
handle.
Yes. I'm like, oh, forgot about that one. So Sue, I'll write about it in the newsletters. And if you're not already getting our newsletters, sign up right now while you're thinking about it. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. 5 minutes or less every single day. You get TechSmart the easy way. I'm going to do all the hard work for you. And it's just fabulous. I mean, you get the tech news, security alerts, data breach alerts, you name it, and then something to make you smile at the end. And you can sign up over at getkim.com. It's always good to set up these legacy contacts, by the way. Speaking of Facebook, if you set up a legacy contact, they'll have the ability to manage your profile. They can post tributes, update your picture, cover photo, and even respond to new friend requests. How do you get there? On your Facebook account, go to settings and privacy. And then under settings, again, they have like memorial settings. I think that's what it's called. And that's where you set up that legacy contact. All right, you're on Facebook. You see an ad of what looks like a naked gal. You can tell she is smoking hot. But the most interesting parts, well, they're kind of blurred out. But you're like, oh, gosh, I wonder how hot she is, and I want to click. All right, you're not still falling for this, are you? Come on. Hackers are posting ads featuring blurry pictures of beautiful, naked young women. Their target, men over the age of 45. I mean, come on, you guys should know better than this right now. They say about 100,000 victims have already clicked the misleading Facebook ads, downloaded what's called the Node Stealer malware. Basically, it gives the hackers access to your credit card details, your cookies, all of your social media accounts, and you can't beat them either. Most of the time, after you click that link for that ad, what they're going to do is change your Facebook password, turn on all the security steps so that this way you aren't able to get back into your Facebook account. And then they're going to start trying to scam all of your family members and friends and anybody else who may be associated with your account. So if you see that naked picket, I know it's going to be tempting. Just don't click. All right, do me a solid and be sure you tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and also the Kim Komando Today podcast, because everyone needs more tech smarts. You can find me always at komando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise: home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part? Most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening. Here is hour 2.
All right, I always like to kick things off with something fun, and let's talk about the Tesla Cybertruck. Yeah, you can see it in your head, I know. 1 million reservations to buy the Cybertruck have been posted at least, they say. It's still a mystery on really what's going to be delivered in this truck, but we do know that the name is Cybertruck and it's to be coming out in just a few weeks. So here's why I'm bringing it up. People are hawking their Tesla Cybertruck reservations for $10,000 on eBay. That reservation originally cost $100. Now, Tesla says you can't transfer the reservations, but still people are spending like 10 grand on it. I mean, it would make me so nervous, right? To rely on some random person online to buy and transfer a new car to me that hasn't been manufactured yet. Wow. And I don't get all the hate and sarcasm against the Tesla Cybertruck. I mean, really, think about this. You slap a minigun on its back, and it's Halo in real life. It just is. And on that happy note, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is a tech thing. I'm, of course, Kim Commando, and this is the most listened to, the most trusted show, the biggest show about all things digital. And I have 2 favors to ask of my tech savvy tribe. Number 1, the best way for you to help me grow the show and the podcast is for you to tell at least one friend. That's all. Just tell one friend about the show and podcast. And number 2 is I want to hear from you. I want to get some feedback from you. You can send me your notes over at hello@commando.com. That's hello@commando.com. And you can find my show on over 420 fantastic stations across the United States. And you can get us as a podcast webcast over at commando.com. Just hit the button that says community. And a big shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. And I know that you have at least a few questions that I can lend a hand to. And that's why our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. All right, it's my labor of love. Every single day, I go to at least 35 different websites to bring you up to date with the top 5 things you need to know about tech. And let's start with AI. I mean, who here among us isn't worried that AI is going to take their job? Reports say that up to 1 billion, yes, I said billion, 1 billion white-collar workers will be impacted in some way by AI. 14 million jobs will totally vanish. So who's safe? Who is safe? I saw this report the other day. Nurses, hairdressers, electricians, plumbers, and construction workers. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is saying that these are some of the jobs expected to grow the fastest in the upcoming years. These jobs require, they say, a unique combination of physical, intellectual, social skills that AI can't replicate, at least not yet. Okay. I mean, nursing. All right. AI could read medical charts, but it can't comfort a scared patient, right? A construction worker who has to make split-second decisions because something has changed. So who's at most risk? If you're in sales, production, or administration, time to rethink that big old career path. Moving on to number 2, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you not to do these DNA tests. I told you. 23andMe is selling everyone's DNA to the pharmaceutical industry. It was only a matter of time. The company sold DNA to drug maker GSK for $20 million. They say that the data will be anonymized, and it's going to be great to help drug development. Okay, that's fabulous, but what about our privacy? And it's all legal, by the way, provided you agree to let them use your data for scientific research, which you did when you signed up. Okay. So if you ever bought a 23andMe kit, sent your saliva sample back in that little tube, they got a whole bunch of your genetic traits and data. And these kits aren't cheap. You basically paid to have your data sold. It's not just you. If any of your close relatives also took the test, their genetic info is out there in the Wild West too, like it or not. Moving on to number 3, it wasn't very spooky. It wasn't. Apple had a surprise, scary fast event. It happened the day before Halloween. And it wasn't really scary. It wasn't very surprising. I mean, I told you all this was coming down. So here's the rundown. New M3 chips, the big deal. It's the 3rd generation of Apple's own silicon chips. Because remember, Apple broke away from Intel. Proving point for Apple is that they can go ahead and do this. New features. Okay, it's kind of techie, so you have to stay with me. Faster and more efficient CPU. Updated GPU for ray tracing, mesh shading, and dynamic caching. Up to 128 gigs of unified memory. You're like, what the heck does any of that mean, Kim Commando? What does it mean? Bottom line is that this chip is made for gaming. It's made for video. It's made for streaming. It's probably the most advanced chips ever built for a home personal use computer. Yes, that's what all that means. Here, I'll tell you again. Ray tracing, mesh shading, dynamic caching, unified memory. Oh, now, don't you feel smart? I know you do. I can see it in your eyes. Some new MacBook Pro models. They're 14 and 16 inches. They get that M3 Pro chip. 22 hours of battery life. That's fabulous. 22 hours of battery life. That means that you could actually go from like New York to Singapore on a single charge or something like that. They're going to be expensive. It's about like $2,000 to $2,500 for a laptop. They also have a new M3 iMac, 24-inch, no longer 27-inch, by the way. I was pretty sad about that. 24 gigs of memory, 7 colors. Are you ready? They come in green, yellow, orange, pink, purple, blue, and silver. I think I would like the pink one. $1,300. Let's move on to number 4. Yes. How about your mother's maiden name? Your favorite dog, whatever it was. Programmer Stefan Thomas has over 7,000 Bitcoin on a protected Iron Key hard drive. It was given to him about 10 years ago. Those Bitcoins are now worth $242 million. Wow. Okay, here's the reason why I'm talking about it. He forgot the password to the hard drive. What a schmuck. Iron Key hard drives lock up after 10 failed attempts. He has only 2 login attempts left because the contents are encrypted, and he just lost $242 million. His Bitcoin has been locked up since 2011. Stefan also says he wrote the password down, but guess what? He lost that too. He could be in luck. A cybersecurity firm called Unciphered claims that they found a way to hack into these Iron Key devices. They demoed the technique to Wired, and it did work. So, will Stefan see his fortune? We don't really know, because Stefan has denied Unciphered access to this drive. He says that, I contracted with another cybersecurity team to figure out the issue. I don't think he's too bright. And finally, this coming in at number 5, the first walking, talking robot you're going to see has the personality of a British butler. What's going on with this? You've seen those videos with the Boston Dynamic dog, Spot, right? The 4-legged robotic dog. It maps environments, it climbs stairs, it dances, open doors, gets you drinks. Police departments, oil companies, manufacturers, over 1,000 of these have been sold. Well, this past week, Spot, the robotic dog, got a voice. It doesn't go bark, bark, bark. He can actually talk to you. Here, take a listen.
Greetings, good sirs. May I have the pleasure of knowing your names?
I'm Matt, and that's Vache.
Yes.
A pleasure to meet you, Matt and Vacha.
So that's Spot. That's right.
Shall we commence our journey?
So now he's a tour guide at the Boston Dynamics headquarters, and you can bet on a big dog bone that he's going to be heading all over to other places like museums and airports and cities. Think about that. Maybe the sewers of Paris, the catacombs of Rome. Just another day at the office. When I read about Jacob Knowles in the New York Times, I was like, oh my gosh, totally have to get him on the show. Let me tell you who he is. He's the captain of Rest Ashore. It's a lobster fishing boat. Now, his day starts at the crack of dawn. And with his crew, they sort through the lobsters, tossing the small ones back, keeping the legal size one. It's tough work. But that's not all Jacob does in one day. He has another job. While he's out there doing the lobster job, he's also capturing it all on video to huge audiences. He has a massive social media following, 2.5 million on TikTok, 400,000 on Instagram. Now, he's part of this growing trend of influencers showing off their jobs online. and he's making money at it. Hey, Jacob, thank you so much for being here. Let's start at the beginning. Now, how did you become a lobster fisherman?
So it's been in the family for generations. It's just a way of life up here. It's a pretty common thing to have generational families staying in the industry. So I grew up going lobster fishing with my father ever since I was little. Ever since I can remember, I've been lobster fishing. I started on his boat. Working with him, he taught me the ropes as I was real young, and then got into a small skiff when I was probably 12 or 13, and worked my way up through boats. When I started, my dad would actually go sternman with me. A sternman is somebody that works
On the stern.
on the boat.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hence sternman. So yeah, he would go with me on the boat, teach me the captain end of it. And at 15, 16, I went on my own in a 25-foot boat, started taking my own crew. And then by senior year of high school, I was doing it full time in a larger boat and have been ever since.
And so what size boat do you have now?
It's a 46-foot.
That's a big boat. How many pounds of lobsters do you catch a day?
It varies. It's a hard thing to put a number on. It all really depends on the time of year. In the winter, the fishing can be poor. Certain times in the summer, the fishing can be good. And the catch is an interesting topic in Maine because it's such an old-fashioned traditional way of life, and it's kind of a respectful place as far as trying to be humble and not come across as arrogant or anything. So catch has kind of evolved into a thing where it's fisherman never shares his catch, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started posting on TikTok. Give me an idea of like some of the videos that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe people are watching this.
Yeah, so it started about 3 years ago, actually, to the date. It was in the fall 3 years ago. We started posting some kind of just funny comedy stuff, just joking around on the boat. The first one was kind of a prank where my sternman Keith scared the third man with an eel that we had, and that was kind of the first viral video. After that, we continued to look to try to reproduce that, and so early on, it was mostly comedy skit type stuff, and then kind of accidentally stumbled onto the educational part of it, and that's when we first stumbled onto the educational stuff. That's when I was like, wow, there's something special here because this is largely untouched. Most of the world doesn't have any idea about the lobster industry.
Give me an idea of the educational aspect that which you're showing on your TikTok.
Yeah, so the educational side, the popular stuff has been geared towards like the sustainability measures and the things that are done to ensure the fishery remains sustainable for the future. There are countless things that we do inside the fishery to ensure this. One of the popular things in the videos are that on the egg-bearing females, if we catch a lobster that is a female that's full of eggs, she's a proven breeder, so we'll notch her tail, and then the notch in her tail signifies to future fishermen that she is capable of reproducing. So the notch, it's actually a federal law and state law as well. So once the lobster is notched, she's illegal to keep. So any futureman down the road, even if they catch her when she doesn't have eggs, they can't keep her. So that's been a popular topic on the educational side. And then just everything, really. People have been fascinated with learning about a way of life that nobody's ever seen.
So now I understand, like you've gone professional. You have an onboard video person. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then are you going to start selling some lobster merch?
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm in the process of trying to build a team to kind of try to take this full time, and there's a lot to it to do it right. And merch is definitely on the list. I've done kind of small scale merch on my own over the years, but it's just been through like a pre-order system. There's a lot of popular topics that I think merch could do well with inside the niche, with like as I was saying, the V notch, and usually before we let them go, we'll give them a fish for a snack. So I think that kind of thing on some merch would be popular, and I'd like to get to the point where I'm stocking that and easily able to ship it out.
Now, are there any people in your lobster hole community that are looking at what you're doing saying, oh, I can't believe Jacob's doing that. What is he doing?
In a good way or a bad way?
Both.
Well, so the feedback has been pretty positive, and I've tried to keep the content geared that way. I don't want it to become a thing that is frowned on by the community of Maine and in the coast of Maine. I try to keep the content something that benefits the fishery and try to put, I guess, just try to use the content for good and not just for fame purposes.
So how much money are you making?
It's all over the place. I haven't figured that out yet. To really consistently earn income on it. There's been decent months, and then there's been months. It's just been all over the place. It could be a few $100 a month, a few $1,000 a month, but it's. Well,
you know what? You're definitely growing. I mean, you're definitely getting out there. Getting some coverage in the New York Times it's one step or so away from having your own reality TV show.
I am excited to see where the future takes this. I think it's got a lot of potential.
Well, Jacob, congratulations to you as a captain of Rest Assured, to your entire crew. And do me a favor, when you get that reality TV show gig, I want you to give me a call, all right? I just love entrepreneurial success stories, don't you? All right, let's talk about scams. The phone rings, and as soon as you pick it up, some robotic voice says that you owe money to the IRS. And you're like, oh, no, stop. No, it's not me, right? Well, here's the deal. Do not say a word. Do not say hello, anything. It only takes 3 seconds for a scammer to steal your voice. And if that happens, they could potentially use your voice to get into your banking apps and maybe even extort family members and friends out of money. So if you don't want to hear from them at all, you can use the call blocking app, of course. There's just a ton of them out there, like Truecaller, Hiya, Robocaller. Your cellular provider probably even has its own app that you might want to check out. There's also another one where it says, press this button to speak to a person. That's how the scammers get access to your info, and they put your number on a hot list call, so don't be doing that either. And finally, if you do get a scam call, just go ahead and report it. Let's talk about something that you've heard before, and I'm sure you've rolled your eyes like, oh, you're kidding me, right? I mean, that's when you have something wrong with whatever you're trying to work with, and then your IT person says, have you turned it on and off? And you're like, yes, I've done that. When really you haven't done that, but you don't want to sound like a fool that you kind of miss that most important step. It's called power cycling. And it really can fix a lot of problems. Like, let's say your computer's like slow as molasses. Now, you might have a bunch of sneaky processes that are running in the background, just hogging up resources. Can't connect to Wi-Fi? Yes, you want to restart your router and your modem there too. Software glitches? Yep, you want to shut down the program. Better yet, just do a whole restart of your PC. Just kind of keep that in mind. So if something goes wrong, turn it off, turn it back on. All right, Dawn in Lansing, Michigan. Hi there, Dawn.
Hi, Kim. It's great to talk to you. I'm a fan of the show, your articles in AARP, and thank you for combining the newsletters.
Oh, one a day, right?
Right. It's great.
You know what? Thank you. As it was getting to be too much work for me to do 2 a day. And then I started thinking, like, if it's too much work for me to do 2 a day, it's probably too much work to read 2 a day. So
yeah, it was a little overwhelming. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. So what's happening?
Well, I would like to know when emails are deleted, how long do they stay on the server, such as Yahoo or Gmail? I'm wondering if it's a month, if it's a year, or as long as you have an account with them. Why
do you ask?
I'm asking because as I was cleaning out emails from years ago, I got to thinking about two things. One, I lost an email, a recipe my grandmother gave me about 4 years ago, and she passed 4 years ago. And I thought, I wonder if there was any way I could ever get that back if it was deleted. And then the second side of that I had a concern is I had my tax returns a few years ago, and it came through email, and I deleted that email. So then I started thinking, I wonder if that information, because it's private, is really gone. So when I'm really deleting something, is it really gone?
Well, yes and no. I know that's a terrible answer, isn't it? Okay. Gmail, what they say is that it's in the trash folder for 30 days and then it goes into the intergalactic bit bucket. We don't know where it goes. Okay. Yahoo says 7 days. But it's always interesting to me that when we have lawsuits, that somehow email is resurrected from years past, right? You're like,
Right.
where did that really come from? And here's the reason why is that some of these email providers, of course, they don't want to get involved in every lawsuit, so they have certain policies. And that's where you have subpoenas and, like I mentioned, lawsuits come into play to see if they can maybe get some type of documentation, email, whatever, out of their backups or out of their archives, because they do have to keep things backed up for data loss and system failures, right? I mean, disaster recovery, it happens even to them. And archives.
Right.
Some businesses need to archive things for longer years based upon whatever their business needs at that particular time. Maybe they have some compliance issues, some legal issues. Now, as far as you getting back this recipe 4 years ago, it ain't never going to happen. I'm sorry. I wish that there was a magical window that I could send you to, because, we all love our grannies and we all loved what they cooked, right?
Right.
And we all have great memories of them. Although I'll tell you, my granny, she didn't really cook very much, but let me tell you something. This woman could party like nobody's business. I mean, I'm talking like, a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon every single day. Okay. And a pack of Pall Malls. All right. Okay. So, and it was always party town at Granny's. It was, Elvis was on the record player. I mean, it was just, things were just happening. And so you might be thinking like, well, how long did Granny live? Right? I mean, think about this. A 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon and a pack of Pall Malls every single day. Okay. She was 86. Okay. So,
Wow.
and I'm sitting there going, all right, I exercise every day. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't eat processed foods. I don't eat meat. I mean, so it's like, not sure what happened.
That's amazing.
But you may be able to get a copy of the recipe by looking into your own backups. Your local mail programs.
Okay. Okay.
If you saved, if you still have email from decades sitting on an AOL address or a Yahoo address or a Gmail address, so you can go back. Say, for example, like if you go to Gmail, I always find if I'm trying to search for something on my email, I can normally go into gmail.com. I find it easier to do that than in the mail app, and then type in certain parameters, certain words. It just seems to pop up easier for me than going through Apple Mail. And also on your Windows PC and on your Mac, you can always use that search box. A lot of people think like, oh, I have to search for a file name. No, you can search for anything. If it was it a picture of a recipe, or was it an honest to gosh text or email?
No, it's just a picture of one, and I do think I probably could find it, and even if not through that, possibly a family member. So
yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, that's kind of the long answer to say no. Okay, sorry, but as long as there are other ways that you can get this information, that's really what it is. Kind of think outside the box. Like, you're not going to be able to go back to Google or Yahoo or Hotmail, whoever it is, saying, "Hi, I really want this back. It was been years." No. You probably have it somewhere on your system. And Dawn, thank you for your call. All right, I got this note from Ben in Texas. Hi there, Kim. Hi, Ben. I love your podcast. You were talking about AI, and I got to thinking, when I read a story online at some website, how can I tell if a human being actually wrote it? This is a really good question. We should be talking about USA Today. Last week, a bunch of mysterious bylines with stories suddenly appeared on the site. And then staff writers at Reviewed, they're like, what's going on? I mean, these are non-existent humans. They couldn't find these writers with any bylines, any social media profiles, not even on LinkedIn. Now, Gannett, the parent company of this, they just deny everything. So what are some signs that a chat bot wrote that article or actually put together that website? It wants to sound important. That's number one. It uses words a lot, like consequently or furthermore or moreover. You start seeing those. That's not really how most humans will write. They don't do analysis. So like, for example, at TMZ or one of those sites, they may write, Kim Kardashian dieting for months to squeeze her butt into the 60-year-old Marilyn Monroe dress proves that she'll do anything she has to get attention and social media and to keep building her brand. Okay. Now, if that article said, Kim Kardashian wore a dress that Marilyn Monroe owned, it's probably AI. Quotes and numbers, they just don't pan out, okay? And you see something and then you Google that number and you find it's just completely fake. There's no personality. Okay. So if you're reading the newsletters and you think, gosh, I wish Kim Commando would stop giving out those corny jokes, well, then that's how you know it's written by me, and it is written by me. And you want to keep an eye out for any type of phishing scams. This is a big number that I just also need to talk to you about for just a moment. Since ChatGPT launched last November, phishing emails are up almost 1,300%. Wow, 1,300%. Isn't that just a big pile of poo waiting to steal from all of us? And if you want to read more about this, you want to pass it along, and you want to see some steps, head over to commando.com and hit that button that says Show Picks. So I have to tell you what I did the other day. I totally mixed up the Daily Tech Update because it was not very good. So now what we have, every single day, you get the morning tech news, and then in the afternoon, you get one digital life hack. And so what you're going to get now is a digital life hack and a daily tech update, but I'm going to answer one of your questions. So if you ever have a question you want me to answer, you can go ahead and send that to hello@commando.com, or you can go to commando.com and fill out that form that says email Kim, because I'm going to pick out a question every single day, twice a day, and I'm going to answer it live right on the spot when I record the digital life hack. So I have changed it. So how do you get it? Well, wherever you get your podcast, just search for Commando with a K, of course. And then again, this is called the Daily Tech Update. I'm so proud of it. Here, I want you to take a listen. This Halloween, there's something really scary about electric vehicles. Too many buyers ask, if I buy one, will it be a trick or a treat? If you're grappling with the question of buying an EV, you're not alone. Just last week, top executives admitted that their EV manufacturing and sales goals are in real trouble. New car inventory is piling up. GM CEO Mary Vara says that the company has completely abandoned plans to build 100,000 new EVs by the end of this year and another 400,000 by June of next year. GM has no idea when or even if it's going to meet its goals. What's the problem? High interest rates for sure, but customers still have that nagging worry. They fear that one day they'll be caught with a depleted battery and no charging station in sight. Hey, let me do the work for you. Get tech news and tech smarts with my free newsletter. You can sign up right now at getkim.com. All right, next up, we're sifting through the digital post to spotlight a question from you. Yes, our loyal, savvy, and so handsome and beautiful listeners. Another letter from our listeners day. All right, Kristen in Phoenix writes, Hi, Kim. Hi, Kristen. My 80-year-old aunt turned off her Amazon Echo due to privacy concerns. But I still want a smart speaker so she can call for help in case of emergency. She has an iPhone. Will a HomePod work? All right, Kristen, good for you for helping her out. It's hard work and emotionally draining being a caregiver. I've been there. And using tech can make it a lot easier. So if your aunt is set on ditching Alexa, any Bluetooth speaker can do the job. The Apple HomePod has 3 built-in microphones, so your aunt won't have to rely on her smartphone. So in an emergency, you're right, she can shout out, Hey Siri, call 911 from the other side of the house. Now, the HomePod will still hear her loud and clear. But Kristen, you have to keep in mind that your aunt can also call for help on an iPhone. You don't need a smart speaker just to do that. You are the best for tuning in. Now, if you're curious about something, pop over to commando.com and click Email Kim. I read every single email like it's a secret code to unlock some hidden tech treasure. And you can catch the tech wave. How? Just get my free daily newsletter. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. All righty, back to the phones we go with Stan in South Bend, Indiana. Hi there, Stan.
Well, I've seen some YouTube videos of some songs that my wife and I want to sing for a wedding coming up.
Ooh, nice.
But I called the publishing company for the music, and they said that they do not have an accompaniment tape.
Okay.
So is there a program that I could take that YouTube video and get rid of the voices?
The audio track.
And just get rid of the audio track and just have the accompaniment.
Mm-hmm. There's probably all kinds of legal things that you shouldn't be doing with all this, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. Okay. And assume that if it is illegal, that you won't do this or certain parts of it. The first step is for you to download. What is the song?
A Gift of Love.
Oh, how nice. Okay. So your first step is to download the YouTube video. Okay. And you can do.
I have already done that.
Okay. Once you do that, then you need to have some software that can separate the vocal track. Now, there's a free program called Audacity, Audacity. It's been around forever, and it's a big. It's we use it here in the studios. Most people that do any type of audio work, they probably have dabbled in it at some point. They have a feature called vocal reduction and isolation in there. And so what you do is you import the audio track, then you're going to select the whole thing, and then under effects, that's where you're going to find vocal reduction and isolation. And then you're going to select remove the vocals and then hit OK. Now, this isn't as easy as it sounds, just to let you know that.
I didn't figure it would be.
It's kind of like, oh, yeah, I can do this in 3 minutes. No. Your mileage may vary as well as, anybody else's, no matter what you're doing on your computer. And it also depends upon the song's mixing and mastering. But, there's also a way that you could also go in there into the track itself and then start lowering and raising different levels so that this way you can maybe make that vocal track less prevalent in certain parts.
Okay.
Now, if that doesn't work, Adobe Audition probably has the capability in it, maybe even better than Audacity. Because again, remember, Audacity is free, it's open source and all that other good stuff. Adobe means what? What does Adobe mean to you, Stan? Think about this. Adobe. What's the first word that comes to you with Adobe? Money, right? Money.
Money. Oh, gosh.
Okay. Because anything that you talk about with Adobe, they are going to charge for. Okay. Yeah, I know they have little free versions on their website and free little things you can do in your app. But I mean, it's a big corporation that needs to make a lot of money. That's why Photoshop is still expensive as it is. And it has been. With Adobe Audition, that it's probably going to cost you about $250 under a yearly subscription, but it does have a lot of features. And you can buy it by the month for about, I don't know, like $25 a month. And so maybe what you want to do is get back onto YouTube and do a search that says Audacity, remove vocal track. And maybe you can find some videos of some guys and gals who have actually done this. And so it gives you some pointers along the way. And just for giggles, I would do the same thing with Adobe Audition. Again, do a YouTube, how to remove vocal track, and see what type of how-to videos that you pop up. Because that's always a good way to gauge whether or not this is a project that you are willing to invest your time, effort, energy in, instead of saying just hiring some local band to maybe do that track for you. I don't think they would probably charge very much. You could probably just pay somebody to play the track in a piano setting. And especially if it's a wedding, you don't need all those bells and whistles that might be coming with a big orchestra. It just might feel better and even more intimate if it's done with a guitar or with a flute, with your voice and your wife's voice, instead of having this big accompaniment. But best of luck to you, Stan. Now, I'm very sad you didn't ask me to sing the song for you at the wedding. But I get that. I know. I have the worst singing voice ever. I do. I just can't carry a tune. So, Stan, if you need any help afterwards, just give a shout back. I'm here for you. But I can't sing. Okay, huge warning. If you're downloading a new app from the internet onto your Windows-based PC, I want you to be really, really careful. There's a new malware that's spreading called Ghost Pulse, and it's attacking Windows system by an app installer. So the bottom line here is stick to downloading apps directly from the official developer's website, or better yet, just go to the Microsoft Store. Don't take any chances. Hey, listen, just want to remind you that you can find me 24/7 over at Commando.com, and make sure that you sign up for our newsletter at GetKim.com.
Here is hour 3.
I always like to kick off the show with something really fun and interesting. And now, do you have a piece of old technology that you're like, oh, I just used to love this little gadget. Why used to love it, love it. All right, I was a big fan of the Palm Pilot, but you know what really has captured the hearts of many? The pager. You remember that? Now, for all of you Gen Z and millennials, it was this little black box that you clip on your belt, has this little black and white screen, and all it does is show you messages. You can't even reply. And when you get a message, it vibrates and it makes a sound like beep, beep, beep. Now, here's something really crazy. The country's leading paging company, Spock, has reported that there are still approximately 800 1,000 pagers in use today across the United States. Wow. And that sound today, it might be confused with somebody just backing up, right? It's kind of a crazy thing when you think about it. Mostly doctors are still using them and people like in oil fields, in case you're wondering. Hey, you're about ready to get more tech smart because every single thing now is a tech thing, right? And I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess. You found the biggest show, the most trusted show about all things digital. And I need you to do 2 things to help me out. Number 1, the best way for me to grow my show and podcast is for you to tell just one person about it. Just tell one friend or family member about my award-winning shows and how much you learn from me and love me. And that brings me to number 2. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you like to know more about. You can send me an email to hello@commando.com. That's hello@commando.com. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free over inside the Commando community. Just hit commando.com. And a big hello and thank you goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, you can count on me to check out at least 35 different websites every single day to bring you up to date with the top 5 things you need to know that's happening in tech right now. And we're going to start with a malware report. I wanted to pass this along because hackers and scammers are no longer just going after adults. They've got this huge pot of gold for anyone searching online for, say, Sonic the Hedgehog, Taylor Swift, or Boss Baby. And they're targeting our kids, looking for their favorite movie, video game, celeb, TV show. Boom, they just get hit with malware. Home Security Heroes found that over half of the search results, this is crazy, for the Boss Baby, Transylvania 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog contained malware. Same goes for 47% of Google searches related to Pokemon. The most dangerous celebrity to look up of all for the kids. Who do you think that is? Come on, I know you know who it is. Taylor Swift. Researchers found 79% of searches for Taylor contained potential malware. Oh, talk about bad blood. Number 2, so you want to start a reselling side hustle? Here's some stats for you. Facebook Marketplace. Insider Monkey took a deep dive on the most popular keyword searches on Marketplace, and here's what people are wanting to buy there. Number 5, fitness equipment. We're talking about yoga mats, dumbbells, Peloton items, perfect for all those New Year resolutions or people that were having these fitness regimens during lockdown. They're like tired of it, like me. I'm selling my Pelotons. I'm so tired of sitting on that bike. I'm going outside and running and hiking and do things like that. Number 4, rugs. Yeah, 11 million searches for rugs. That's kind of a shocker for me. Well, a rug can make or break a room. Number 3, shoes. I'm talking about sneakers, heels, all kinds of shoes are in demand. The rarer, the better. Number 2, phone accessories. If you have any of these laying around, you can sell those. We're talking about cases, chargers, and more. And number 1, what do you think number 1 is? Toys and games. 70 million searches. Video games, board games, action figures, whatever you do, hot sellers all year round, especially during the holiday season. Number 3, a new Chat GPT feature that is just crazy with a capital C. OpenAI just released a new feature for people who pay $20 a month, I think that you should know about. And this is really big. You can upload all your PDFs, right? It's going to analyze and process all the data contained in the PDFs. And then what it does is truly remarkable. It builds visualizations. It does calculations. It makes all kinds of charts. It creates databases. It's developed questions. It does a whole data analysis. Yes. I mean, big businesses pay big money for this. Okay. Really, people in logistics, supply chains. Now it's out there for anybody to use at a low, low price of just $20 a month. I mean, the possibilities are really endless. Maybe make your job a lot easier. But you have to remember that whatever you put into ChatGPT, it just doesn't stay with you in ChatGPT. It could be sent to OpenAI and they can do whatever they want for it. So just make sure that whatever you upload, it's not company secrets. Number 4, a big reward for binge watching. Netflix hiked the price of its premium plan from $20 to $23. Basic went from $10 to $12. Now, here's the insider secret. We all hate ads, but they have sweetened the deal if you're binge watching. You won't see any ads on the 4th episode of a series if you watch previous 3 back to back. Okay. So this way you get one for free. They're going to show you what it's like to watch something without the ads, and you're like, okay, I'll pay up. Finally, this for number 5. You may not be looking for love online, but a lot of people are. Match, the company that owns Tinder, Match, and Hinge, they say about 40% of all couples are meeting via apps. That's a lot. A lot of happily ever afters, but then they do say that if you meet dating online, that you're more likely to get divorced. But anyway, one woman, she is getting everybody's attention because she has a unique way of getting a guy's attention online. She's 27 years old. Her name's Sabrina Duda. She matches with men on Hinge, and rather than with a simple reply, she sends them a love song like this one.
You said hi on August 25th, and I'm sorry for the late reply. But to be honest with you, I'll need a little more than hi. How are you? It's a little plain. Come on, Ben, I know you gotta have some game. Now, I'm not trying to be
Okay,
rude,
it goes
'cause you
on
might
and
be
on
really
and on
cool.
and on and on. Okay, she's super cute. She says that it's really great for weeding people out. If a guy gets the song, they instantly unmatch her. She's like, okay, well, he was not for me. You know, speaking of dating, I used to run a dating service for chickens, but I was struggling to make the hens meet. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Here's a question that you may not have ever thought of. Is the younger generation in crisis? Okay, we always say, yeah, they are, but this one's a little bit different because of what's happening in the tech world. NYU professor Scott Galloway seems to believe so. Now, he's one of the founders of Red Envelope, the online go-to for personalized gifts. Let me tell you, I love that site. And Profit, it's a consulting firm that has shaped campaigns for big brands like T-Mobile and BP. Now, he's author of the New York Times bestseller, The Four. It dives into the influence of those tech giants, you know, the ones that I'm talking about, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google. And Professor Galloway has said that schools need to teach mating dynamics. What? Yeah, mating dynamics, saying that some young men are gravitating towards AI sex bots and also porn over real relationships. Well, we have him on the show today. I'm so excited to talk to Professor Galloway and learn more about this. So, Professor, thanks again for being here. Now, you've sounded this alarm among young men. Can you dive into what this really means?
So thanks for having me. If you look at the most unstable, violent societies in the world, they all have one thing in common, and that is they have a disproportionate number of young, broken, alone men. Young men need guardrails. They mature later. Their prefrontal cortex literally develops later than girls. We've had sort of a bit of a hollowing out of many of the on-ramps into the middle class without a college degree, specifically manufacturing jobs. And over the next 5 years, there's going to be 2 female college graduates for every 1 male college graduate. And you might think, well, that's great. Women are advancing, and that is wonderful. It's not a zero-sum game here. You can have compassion for young men while still celebrating the progress that women are making. But the honest answer, the honest discussion around mating is that women, generally speaking, who have college degrees aren't interested in mating with men who don't have college degrees. And as women metaphorically get taller, their viable pool of economically and emotionally viable mates goes down. That leads to loneliness. And among men, it leads to really awful things. Men are now committing suicide at 3-to-1 ratio. 77% of suicides are men. They're 3 times as likely to be addicted. They're 12 times as likely to be incarcerated. More single women own homes than single men now, which again is a wonderful thing, but it shows you how far and how fast men are falling. So who wants more economically and emotionally viable men? Women. And I think it destabilizes our society. I think it's a real big threat to America as we know it.
And then how does AI play into this? I mean, as we're all looking at, the chat GPT, and we've got Bard and we've got Bing, and, jobs are being taken away. Some jobs are being created. And then we've got AGI coming down the pike in, less than 5 years. It's a whole changing dynamic.
My fear is that amoral digital platforms attempt to offer young people, specifically men, a reasonable facsimile of real life. And the reason why romantic comedies are 2 hours and not 20 minutes is that real victory is the endurance, the perseverance, the rejection, overcoming that rejection, having a plan, putting on a clean shirt, getting to the gym every once in a while, maybe being a bit persistent, approaching strangers, which is hard and sometimes humiliating, such that you can find someone who will go out with you, such that you'll find someone who sees the wonderful things about you, such that you'll find someone who will kiss you, someone who will have sex with you, someone who will have kids with you. These are tremendously important motivators and guardrails specifically for young men. When young women don't have a romantic relationship, they tend to have a much stronger, they have more places to put their love. They establish stronger friend networks. They're usually closer with their parents. When men don't have the prospect of a romantic or sexual relationship, they turn online. They're much more likely to engage in conspiracy theory, less likely to believe in climate change. And some, they become just terrible citizens. And what I'm worried about with AI is that there will be the number of searches, queries for AI girlfriend has exploded. And I worry that because things are getting harder and harder for men and they're becoming less viable and less attractive to women, that they'll turn to relationships with algorithms and sex dolls. And that they won't leave the house. They'll fall out of practice, out of shape of what it means to enter into a relationship with someone in person, and we'll have essentially a generation of lost men. And when we think about podcasts, we think about the stock market, all the things we talk about every day, that's the means. And the means to the ends. The ends is a loving, secure relationship. That's the whole shooting match. And I worry that there's just going to be a ton of men who aren't viable and become dangerous, quite frankly.
Well, it sounds extreme, but I agree with you that we are going down this proverbial rabbit hole. When you start talking about these mating dynamics, what would you teach somebody?
Well, I think it starts with parents. When I go out with my boys, I force them to speak to a stranger before I let them back in the house. They can just go up to someone and say, "Can I pet your dog?" But I think in high school and health class, we should speak openly about mating dynamics, and that is to teach men and women how to approach someone and express romantic interest while making them feel safe.
Now, what about the whole work from home? And how does that affect a psyche?
Well, let me be clear. I think that work from home is a huge unlock for caregivers. If you have kids at home, you're taking care of aging parents, you don't have the money to live near the office, I think that work from home can be a wonderful unlock for people. For young people, I think it's a disaster. 1 in 3 relationships begin at work. You need mentors, you need to find friends, you need to find mates. I don't think I would have got my act together had I not had to show up to Morgan Stanley at 8 a.m. on Monday mornings.
You know what? I'm right there with you. Okay.
I needed those guardrails. And I think specifically young men need those guardrails, and they need to socialization, and they need to be around other people, and they need to learn how to read the room and discipline and feedback. So I think the office is a feature, not a bug. And I always tell young people, get into the office before you collect dogs and kids. Absolutely get into the office. So we're no longer going to the mall. We're no longer going to the movie theaters. We're no longer going to work. Where are young people supposed to meet and fall in love? And also work is a chance for people to demonstrate attributes other than what they look like in a bathing suit or, what college they went to. It's an opportunity to kind of be attracted to people as friends, as mentors, and possibly as mates. And 99% of the relationships that begin at work are consensual. And people will tell you that even when they don't work out, that they were a positive thing. And we've decided to take all the opportunities for random encounters with strangers away. People aren't going to church any longer. They're not volunteering. People aren't even talking to their neighbors. So we're mammals. What's the worst thing you can do to your dog? Leave it alone all day. Right. What happens when people are alone in their basement, vaping and playing video games all day? They become asocial. They become depressed.
You bring up excellent points. And for anybody who's listening or watching right now, sit back and do an objective analysis of the young men in your life and see how you can step in and try to make them a more productive member of society. Professor, thank you for being here.
Thank you. And thanks for bringing attention to the issue.
Hey, there's a scam going around. I just want to tell you about real quick, is that you're out and about and somebody says, hey, let's meet up and, can you text me your number? And then you open up your phone by using your passcode and your PIN. And then just when that happens, that person steals your phone and then runs away. And because they have the PIN, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to get your phone back at all. So just keep that in mind. Keep that phone safe. I have to tell you about this. This widower lost $661,000. $661,000. Gosh, that is so much money to an online scam. And before we go back to all of your phone calls, let's talk about these monthly subscriptions. Doesn't it seem like everywhere you turn, somebody's saying like, it's $2 a month, it's 50 cents a month, it's $40 a year, whatever it may be. So how do you track down all these recurring costs? Your first step is to sign into your credit card account. Do that online. There you can sort your transactions by date, amount, and company. Scan and look for any subscriptions that you're no longer using so that this way you can cancel them. Also look for any app subscriptions on your phone or your tablet. On your iPhone or iPad, open settings, tap your name, and then subscriptions. Android, go to the Play Store, look at your profile, and then payment and subscriptions. Don't forget about your Amazon account. So many people do that. Check under memberships and subscriptions. All right, back to the phones we go with Gene in Syracuse, New York.
We have a problem. I live way north, very small rural town, and we have a speed limit. It was the main drag going through our little village of 35. Hardly anybody obeys that, and because we're so rural, we do not have a good police presence. We've talked with the police, tried to get them here, and they say the only solution would be to put up speed radar cameras. But in order to do that, our legislature would have to make a law approving it. So
okay.
I'm wanting to gather information, video evidence that the majority of trucks and cars are speeding past my house, just a few feet from my house, so that I can present this to them and say, look, nobody's obeying this. We need help.
Okay.
So I tried 2 apps. Can I mention them?
Sure.
One was Speed Radar Gun. That was okay. I was able to record some speed, but it's hard to make it work because you have to aim it at the vehicle's headlights and lock it in. The other one I just got is called Speed Clock, but it's complicated. It's very complicated to set up, and they're almost telling me I have to have 2 phones or 2 iPads and have one kick on and one kick off.
Yeah, this is just, it's getting crazy. Let me tell you what I would do. Okay. If faced in this situation, knowing that I got people going in a 35 mile per hour speed limit through a small town where you've got kids and dogs and people walking and running, I'm sure. Are they going, 50 faster?
I took an average on a Thursday morning of 10 vehicles, and it was about 57 miles an hour.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fast. That's fast.
Exactly.
So what I would do is I would create a whole scene. And the scene would consist of, when you go through certain communities or certain freeways and there's a construction zone, they have this big sign up and it says what your speed is.
Right.
And it reads it on this big dial. I mean, so you can see, you're like, oh gosh, I'm going 50 in a 35 because it's going to flash 50, right?
Yeah.
Right in your face. Okay. I buy one of those. Okay. Then I would start recording. I'd get like an outdoor camera and start recording these cars going past and this big sign flashing 50, 52, 60, 70, 40, whatever it may be. Just keep that sucker recording all day long. You don't have to touch anything. You're not going to sit there with 2 iPads and 2 iPhones doing this, right? No, okay. Then I would do that for a few days. Then I would enlist the help of people inside the community. And I'd say, you know what? Okay. I want you to wear bright orange pants, bright orange shirt so everybody can see you. Okay. And I want you to hold up signs that says slow down. Okay. So you have like 4 or 5 people. Now, okay, now we're going to record that. Okay. People holding up the signs to say slow down. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get, probably on this video stream is you're going to get people flipping you off, right? You are.
Oh, sure.
Because people are weird. You're getting people who honk. Okay. Okay. So then what I would do is then I'd call up whoever the local TV station was. And I'd send them the videos from the radar feedback sign and the videos of people flipping you off and going fast because they just don't care. They don't care.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then, so I would get the media involved to put pressure on the legislators to act.
Right.
And maybe in the middle of all this, create a little online petition that everybody in the community signs.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's some good action points.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link to one of these signs, the radar feedback signs. Okay. I will forewarn you, they're not cheap. They're about $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe if you could get a lot of people in the community to give $50 or $100 as you're putting together this plan, because you need somebody who's going to head up this mission. Maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
Because you need somebody to, and it doesn't have to be that hard. You can get on nextdoor.com and explain what you want to do and have everybody start going on to Nextdoor and then set up a little GoFundMe so that this way people can contribute whatever money they can contribute to this.
Wow.
But
okay.
So you got a big project. You really do. And Gene, I want you to keep me posted. Okay. Do not be a stranger. Okay. Do not be my stranger. I want you to let me know how it's going. Send me some of the videos. If I can help with the local media, getting in touch with those folks, I'm more than happy to do that for you. So hang on the line. I'm going to send you a link to this. It's made by SafePace. It's called a radar feedback sign. And good luck to you. I think it'd be kind of a fun project to do. That is a huge project. All right, here's what's going on. Ambitious scammers are setting up these massive shopping websites where every single thing is fake. Everything's fake. So how do you know that you're on a real site versus a fake website? What you want to do is check the URL. Okay, look at the date. Look at the URL. Is there anything weird in it? You can also see when this website has been registered. If it's recent, that's a red flag. Like, for example, Amazon was registered in 1994. A site with Amazon in its name, that's a scam site, was registered in China in 2023. Is everything heavily discounted? Yeah, that's a problem. Does this trendy boutique even exist? What you want to do is Google that name because it could be just an offshoot of a real site that's now a scammy site. Are there a lot of pop-ups for chats or discounts? Try to find the customer service page, the return policies. Real sites have plenty of customer service information. How do the images look up close? Are they pixelated? Yeah, that's a problem. You can also look up the IP address. And we got a tool on the website how to do that. And you want to look for IP addresses that are in America. That's a legit site, probably. Overseas, China, India, Venezuela, other places are probably a fake site. If you want to review this whole list, look no further. Head over to commando.com and hit that Show Picks button. So I have to tell you what I did the other day. I totally mixed up the Daily Tech Update because it was not very good. So now what we have every single day, you get the morning tech news, and then in the afternoon, you get one digital life hack. And so what you're going to get now is a digital life hack and a daily tech update, but I'm going to answer one of your questions. So if you ever have a question you want me to answer, you can go ahead and send that to hello@commando.com, or you can go to commando.com and fill out that form that says email Kim, because I'm going to pick out a question every single day, twice a day, and I'm going to answer it live right on the spot when I record the digital life hack. So I have changed it. So how do you get it? Well, wherever you get your podcast, just search for Commando with a K, of course. And then again, this is called the Daily Tech Update. I'm so proud of it. Here, I want you to take a listen. When the girls at Westfield High School discovered that the boys were swapping nude photos of them on social, the girls were shocked. They never allowed nude selfies or photos. The images looked real. How could this have happened? Westfield, New Jersey is an affluent town outside New York City. Crime is low, scandals are unheard of, and high school girls do not pose naked. A police investigation confirmed someone, no one knows who, used an inexpensive AI app to superimpose real faces over real girls' bodies. No doubt this is wrong. Lots of girls were hurt and embarrassed. Exactly which specific law did the perpetrators break? It could be that no laws were broken. This kind of thing hasn't been covered by laws yet. And so a word of caution to all teachers, administrators, students, and parents. Join over 500,000 people who get my free newsletter. You can sign up right now at getkim.com. All right, it's time to dive into the listener mailbag. Let's see, what burning question do we have today?
Another letter from our listeners, Dave.
Dave in South Carolina. I'm sure I'm going to sound like an idiot. No. But are the win real money game apps real or are they scams? If they are indeed fake, how do they take advantage of you? All kinds of ways. I'm glad you asked, Dave. The games are sometimes rigged. That's right. So maybe you can't really win any real money. Some charge hidden fees to play or to access those winnings. Some are just trying to get all your personal information, like credit card details, or maybe they're tracking you. Others want you to buy something to increase your chances of winning. And then they also make money when you watch the ads. So let me tell you, these games are never going to be a great way to make money. You have some other options that aren't quite that easy, but will still pad your wallet. You could answer online surveys for companies looking for opinions. You could offer your services on a freelancing site or sell things online. But if you're thinking that you're going to be making a lot of money by playing these apps that promise you to win free money, it's just not going to happen. But if you are looking for legit ways to make money, just head over to the website, commando.com, and then hit the search box. Just type in "make money at home." We've got all kinds of lists that will pop right up for you. Hey, thanks for lending me your ears. Now, if you have a question just itching for an answer, super easy. Just swing by commando.com and click where it says email Kim. I promise, I read each and every note you send. And don't miss out on Text Top Stories. Subscribe to my free daily newsletter over at getkim.com. It's good, right? Okay, what can you do in that time? Well, you can brush your teeth. You can take the dog out to do his or her thing. You can get a cup of coffee. I mean, that's what the Daily Tech Update is for. Those little tech times when you're like, I can learn something right here. And again, send me your questions to hello@commando.com, or you can just send it to me on the website. Hit that link that says email Kim. All right, back to the phones we go with Lane in Carmel, California.
Well, I have a watch issue, but I just want to say I've been a fan of yours since like 1997 when I first started listening to you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Lane. You're awesome.
So, yeah. So my Apple Watch, I love my watch. I really do. And I love all the conveniences. But sometimes, Kim, I just want to know what time it is.
No. Wait, whoa. You only want to know what time it is, Lane? What is wrong with you?
Come on. You know, and it wants to tell me the last 3 emails I got, text messages, what my heart rate is, how many steps till I close my, activity ring. And I'm just going, come on. I'm like, dismiss. And I don't want to turn the notifications off per se, but it would be great if I could look at them when I wanted rather than when my watch wanted.
Well, you're talking about doing a little fine tuning, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you can get into the notifications and you can control what comes through, right? You've got do not disturb mode, right?
Okay.
You can disable some of the haptic alerts, the ones that say, Lane, get your butt off the couch. Okay. Go get your steps in. You can also cut down on some of the animations. In accessibilities, that's where you can what's called reduce motion, and that might make it a little less intrusive. It also has something called theater mode, and that makes the screen stay off until you tap it. Okay.
So now I have that, so my screen doesn't light up until I rotate my wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other things you're talking about, that would be on my phone, go into the watch and go to notifications.
Yeah, going into this thing. Have you ever tried just what's called cover to mute?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's like if you just cover the watch for your hand for 3 seconds, you mute it.
Yeah.
And so there are ways to do this. Now, of course, you just might have to get a good old Timex. Okay, Lane, that's it.
Come on.
I know. You're talking to the digital goddess who's telling you to go get a Timex. Okay.
I love the way it unlocks my phone, unlocks my computer.
I know. It's beautiful.
And does that. It's just that sometimes, like you're backing out the driveway. What time is it? And then it says, oh, wait, the security camera saw you. Yeah, I know that. It's my driveway.
The Ring camera's going off and the mail's here and the dog's barking and you forgot to kick the cat. I mean, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
So, it's part of our life now. And it is rather annoying. It is. because we do get all these notifications and it's just like it's constant bing, 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 and I find myself too going, oh my gosh, I just take it off. That's what I do. I just need a break. Okay. You need to give me a break every once in a while. So you really just got to get into your settings, disable the activity notifications, that theater mode that you're doing, cover to mute. Sounds like you're doing all the stuff. So maybe you just need to take the watch off every once in a while and, I don't know, look at the clock in your car and go, yeah, it's 1:12, and I'm pretty happy about it. Lynn, thank you for being a listener all these years. Really appreciate the support. It just reminds me, I asked my Apple Watch, what's the time? And it actually said an 80s funk band. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Her name is Marjorie Bloom, and CNBC reported that she got a phone call from someone claiming to be a fraud investigator from her PNC Bank. And criminals are on the brink of just draining her account on this data that they found about her online. So to keep her safe, he says the caller, she needs to act fast and move her money out of the bank. And to keep it hush-hush, don't say a word to anyone, not even her kids. Now, over the next month, Marjorie, she wire transfers over $661,000, her entire life savings to the scammer. It's all a sham. So these scams can snag anyone. So if you get a call, anything like this, just hit up your official bank's phone number to double check and tell someone immediately who you trust that this has happened to you. And warn your family members and friends too. And don't forget 24/7, you can find me always at commando.com.